All right, we're here with the man of the hour, Amir. Nice for you to join us. Have a couple questions for you. First, How is the event going? Has it been a resounding success like we thought?
Well, first, thank you for being here. Thanks for setting this up. This is always cool. It really ups the whole atmosphere by having a podcast booth like right in the middle of a exhibition. We sold about 600 tickets more than what we anticipated.
Okay.
So well over 3,000 tickets were sold. We were very happy about that. And it's always nerve-wracking when you throw a party. You don't know who's going to show up. Is it going to rain? Could half the people not come?
Well, you got lucky with the rain. I mean, it rained the last 4 days, but now it just stopped the day of the event.
I tell you, it's that's the worst thing you can do is have an event and go on stage and have it be like a paltry audience out there. It's like, it's 30 people.
I think I heard crickets in the back.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
But I've been to the South Florida event, and the South Florida event has like a large, enormous following. Like 8,000 people show up to that.
Yeah, that's twice the size of this.
Yeah, but you still get a great crowd here.
Yeah.
But last year and this year seemed to me like you're getting more crowds than you had in past years.
Yeah, I think we have a huge marketing team now and an events team because we're doing so many with our partners. So, Amazon just became a premium partner of The Real Deal. And I have to throw 6 parties for them. So our events and marketing team are I think it's like 14 people now, which is crazy because they're literally doing stuff every week. So there's the big fish stuff that they have. We have the New York Forum, we have the Miami Forum, we do Future City. Those are for The Real Deal. And then we do salon series, like smaller stuff for like 100, 200 people. And so I think it's the fact that we have a real team to be able to handle it.
Well, I think when I'm looking at media in general, like I personally as a CMO, I have built my team around creating content, like a content creation center, social media, video, podcasting, short form. Like, where do you see the future of your brand, the profitability of the Real Deal brand? Is it more in events? Is it more in unique emerging media? Is it more in subscription models that you have perfected over the last 10 years of your content?
Yeah, the content creation stuff is really interesting, especially with real estate. I'll talk about my business, but just seeing it with real estate brokers, because I used to think, well, hold on a second, not everybody is a Ryan Serhant. Like just that energy and just that personality. Like I know people who have zero personality, but they're amazing real estate brokers.
Correct.
You know a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I still see it, even with those people, they're being pushed to create their own content. And it's not like, hey, let me show you my ass. But like, it's like, here's a kitchen or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But even with those people, they're saying they're getting interest, even if it's like 30 likes. Eventually, they're getting interest from those posts. Their network is growing as a result of that. Look, if you're attractive, if you look good on camera, 100%.
Perceptual value, there is an improvement there. I also think that from a marketing sense, if you're reaching more people, eyeballs are eyeballs in the end.
And look, it's no different than what real estate brokers always have to put that front, that they drive a Mercedes.
Correct.
And they wear the nicest clothes, and they have.
They live in a studio, but they drive like a S-Class.
But imagine with social media, you could just go all out. You don't have to pay for the plastic surgery. You could just put a filter on
You're
it
right.
and call it a day. But for our business, it's been changed. I always tell my staff, like if we started the business in the 1980s, I wouldn't have to change my business model for 30 years.
Yes.
But we started our business in 2003, and immediately in the last 22 years, I had to change my business model 3 times. So it was like, oh, it's all social media. Oh, it's programmatic, so you just need eyeballs. Oh, now it's subscription. So if you don't have subscriptions, you're fucked. And which is the case. I mean, subscriptions have allowed us to grow in
That's
such
the future. 100%.
It is. But you always think, what could be the thing that screws that up for us? So you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Something else could pop up. But like with programmatic, you always saw there was a flaw with it, because I'm in media, and I saw these ad agencies come to clients like you and be like, hey, we're going to put you in front of 200,000 people, and really there was like so many fake eyeballs and stuff, and eventually it withered away, it lost value. The only people who ended up making money from it were Meta and Alphabet, and then everybody else sort of just went away. And companies that were being sold for $100 million, you can't get rid of them for like $2 million, So with media, I think it really comes down to content, and if you have really honest and candid content, if you have principles and integrity for your content, people appreciate that, they want it, and I think there's always room for that. Because even with AI, and I'm sure that AI will figure this out, but like, it's hurt our traffic. Because if you used to go to Google, type in, Matt Leone, and you would get 10 articles on the real deal. So somebody would have to come to my site and read 10 articles about Matt Leone. Now they Google Matt Leone, and Google goes on my website, tracks all that stuff, puts it on Google, doesn't even pay me, and then the customer doesn't even have to come to my site to get that information. So right now, my big angle is that we have to break news, because that's news is the only thing that can, for now.
So it's not your archives, it's your breaking news in the moment.
But archives was 40% of my traffic. So 40% of my daily traffic was people doing Google searches on Matt Leone, for example, right? So that, it's 40% is not gone, but that's where it's headed. Like, I don't see that changing, Because even for me, I used to go on The Real Deal to, do my research if I'm meeting with Matt Leone, and I would go on there and I would see all these articles that are interconnected.
Yeah.
But now, Google does all that, and the worst part is that they're taking it from me, and they say it's from The Real Deal, but the customer doesn't care. Like, they don't care where it's coming from. They're like, yeah, whatever, just give me the information that I need. So that part is a little scary, but for some reason in the last year, it's really helped our subscriptions. So I can't argue about it, because our subscription business has, I think, from last year was a record year for us in terms of subscriptions. This year already, I'm at 50% of what we did in subscriptions all of last year, which was a record sort of a year for us. So that part is really great, because subscription is recurring revenue. It allows us to grow immediately, and we collect the money up front. We're able to invest it right away for stuff in November, stuff in December. So in that regard, it's great, because you're like sort of working on credit on your content.
Do you see that events are a profit center for you, or do you see it more as like, I have to engage with my audience, this is just a brand play, it's a billboard, people know we exist, I'll get subscriptions from it, or do you see this as like a major revenue opportunity?
Massive revenue thing. So like,
so do you have,
the margins are so huge.
Overtaken like print revenue?
Oh yeah, print revenue.
Yeah,
yes,
I mean, like,
but we still do the print,
No, of
but
course you're
100%.
going to take it. But
yeah, but no, it's by long distance. Events is right now, it's about 20% of our business.
Wow.
And I like for it to be 30% of our business.
So you're growing that all the time. You're saying that there's different tiers of events, smaller salons, larger events, massive events. So let's talk about two things that you have not necessarily emerged in as much as I thought you would. Podcasting. You have one podcast.
Yeah, it's not. It's a great podcast, but it's not an every day or every week podcast.
Now, why not?
So this is something I give my team a lot of shit about. Like
they asked me to ask you.
I happen to have the one group of young people who don't want to do podcasts, who are not on Snapchat or TikTok.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's the one group in the world that works in my office. So, those things, a podcast takes personalities, right? So
correct.
So I have great producers that work for us, but I still need talent who understands the ins and outs of the market to be able to go sit there and be able to have a conversation. Because I can't read questions having a podcast. Like, you're able to do this because you know what the follow-up is going to be. Yeah. So that's been a challenge for us. We're looking for talent to do it. And I offer it to my staff, and nobody,
well, I think I've seen great interest in it. Sponsor revenue, commercial revenue.
Yeah.
Bring in other ancillary, like I have a single unit property management company, a mortgage company, a title company, all creating a podcast content on our network.
Well, you guys are such a core referral system for them.
Yeah.
You guys
they see a huge value, but they see a value in you as well. So I think there's a good opportunity there. The last question I have before I let you go, because you're the man of the hour right now, is TV.
Yeah.
So many things are going on right now on Netflix and Bravo, and also, let's even call it maybe even CNBC and Fox News. Your brand is strong in the major cities where most, of the major business is taking place.
Yeah.
Everyone knows The Real Deal's name. Why have you not entered into that world yet?
So that requires a producer from the inside to come to us and say they want to do that, and they did. So one of the major financial ones, one that you just mentioned, they came to us and they said, we want to do this with The Real Deal. And it was like a year and a half in the making. It was like all this stuff. How do we want to platform it? When should it run and stuff? And then all of a sudden in October, NBC sort of fell apart. They started selling off pieces of NBC, and these companies are so fickle because all of a sudden the person who's like running the entire division is like unemployed and can't find a job, and he's like, "Hey, do you have a job for me at The Real Deal?" I'm like, "Fuck! I thought you were such an important guy at this place." But yeah, so we would love to do that, and we went down the road with them, and we just we didn't move fast enough because by then the NBC just became like 10 different things. And then, but recently we signed, not recently, but in the last like 6 months, we signed an agreement with Bloomberg, where now we're on all the Bloomberg terminals. So the Real Deal content is on all the Bloomberg terminals, which has been incredible for us. And that's been a really great and profitable partnership for us that came out of nowhere. And the next thing is, what can we do with them for their networks and stuff, which we were talking to them about. But you know, these guys are, they run like bureaucracies, incredibly slow. And you want that for big companies. You don't want big companies who are moving super fast because, you know, it could be like Doge, you know, for example. In theory, sounds good, but to execute it is a difficult thing. But it hasn't been to our favor. But yeah, I think it's somewhere down the road. I would love to see that happen.
And would you ever delve back into the search experiment like listing aggregator? Like, or is that something that just doesn't make sense for you?
Now, it absolutely doesn't make sense. I think it makes sense to do it for loans and commercial buildings, but because that world is still very much the way the residential world in New York was like in the 1990s.
No, you're right.
And it's crazy because the fact that you know a commercial asset broker, and because he has some email list, that qualifies him to sell a $100 million building.
100%.
And as a investor, I want to be able to go to a website and see exactly what is for sale in New York City, and that doesn't exist, you know. And if you do find a site that stuff exists on it, nobody wants to touch it because that means every asset broker has ran through it, and they couldn't sell it, and that's why it's on the site. So I feel like there's a huge opportunity there for somebody, but it's just not for us probably.
Last question for a potential revenue source. Just how's your training center going? Like the brand studio, you created content for people to just learn more about the industry from some of the industry leaders.
Yeah, so brand studios is sort of like they're sort of like advertisements,
Correct.
But they're content that we produce for advertisers, and we title it brand studios so that there's no confusion about it. But we still control the content to make sure that it's good, that it's informative, and people walk away from the content that they're engaged. You know, sometimes we post brand studio articles that get more views than our front page article, you know, which is crazy. But it's because they have like really great content, they have good graphics, and we try to work with the client to provide that. But that's a big business for us. Brand Studios is now a team of 11 people, which is...
and you'd be very open to expanding that, and it does not hurt our, editorial credibility because it's labeled.
We name it exactly what it is.
You know what it is.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, this is Brand Studios brought to you by...
I mean, the New York Times, the Journal does it. They all do it. It's
oh my God,
great
Wirecutters is a massive business for the New York Times. Yeah. Yeah, it's insane.
Well, I want to congratulate you on another great event.
Thank you so much, man.
We appreciate the work that you do for our industry. There's a great editorial integrity that you have.
Thank you.
And maintain, and we really appreciate being a partner with you this year.
I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Arm.
Cheers.
Take care, Amir.